Hey, what's good, everybody? You know what time it is. Your boy Jeffrey L. Boney here for another hot edition of Real Talk Junkies Live here on the Forward Times, Instagram, as well as Facebook pages, man. Make sure you share the link with all of your friends, all your family, all your loved ones, even those that you don't love or don't like. They need to hear this conversation as well. We're always talking about something fire, something relevant, something important for you to improve your lives or to enhance your lives or to add value to your knowledge base. And today is no different, man. We're going to be talking today about something that's kind of been a hot topic around the globe, not just here in the United States. Something that I want to learn a lot more about. And I know there's a event coming up this Saturday called Dogepalooza, and it's the first ever conversation surrounding this type of conversation, cryptocurrency. I know y'all have heard a lot of stuff about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and NFT, and now we're gonna talk about Doge Palooza today. And here to join me is the person that's partnering with the first ever Doge Palooza Music Festival, and she is a media icon in her own right, particularly in the social media realm. Talking about none other than totally Randy. Come on in. Come on, Randy Bell.
Thank you for
All
having
right, all right. Thank
me.
you for being on Real Talk Junkies on today. All right. So let's talk about, well, who is Totally Randy? Let's just, before we get into the Doge Palooza, music
I
festival.
love that. I thank you for asking me that. It's been a long time since my accident. I had to reevaluate, my brand as Totally Randy. But Totally Randy is basically my friends gave this a shout out to the EFAM. My friends gave me that name because I was always random. And they would literally say, "What are you doing today? You're so random." And so Totally Randy came from that. And I didn't want to actually, when I went into media, when I came in with my Houston Style magazine family, it was more so of me not picking a niche. And so I applied Totally Randy to what I was doing because I didn't have a niche. Some people focus just on food, some people focus just on cars, they focus just on events, they focus just on entertainment, and that's how they create their media personality name or just brand. Me personally, I didn't want to focus on anything. I loved everything. I love food, I love fashion. As you guys can see, I love beauty, I love all of it. And so Totally Randy just kind of really fit in with my brand, and I kept that name as a
Mhm.
media personality. And so I've been a media personality for coming up on 10 years. It'll be 10 years next year. I cannot believe. I'm like, where did the time go?
Mhm.
But coming up on 10 years next year, and I've interviewed um, some of the most prominent people. I've also been really big on giving back. And so I've hit nonprofits. I've interviewed the mayor. I've interviewed, Texans, Rockets. I've interviewed Kevin Hart, Anthony Anderson, like just everywhere. I've been everywhere because I love media. It's just something that I love. So Totally Randy stemmed from that, and it's been a ride, Jeff, but
Yeah.
I love it.
You talked about something, and I definitely want to get into, the primary point of our conversation today, but you mentioned something that I know I actually covered in the Forward Times. I wrote about in September of last year.
Hmm.
You had a major accident, and when I heard or got the news about what had happened, I was floored,
Yeah.
and I was like, first of all, my thoughts were, man, I pray and hope that, everything is fine and that she's okay. And when I found out that you survived, you and your sister
Yeah.
survived, uh, when I saw the photos of what happened to you, I didn't see photos fully of anyone other than yourself. As far as, I mean, I know your sister had some as well, but
Yeah.
you seem like from a image standpoint, facially, it impacted you the most. And so, just so everybody who's paying attention knows, and I know you could talk about it a
Hmm.
little bit more in detail, but I wrote a lead article back in 2021 in the fall around the accident. And the reason that I wrote that article is not because of what actually happened to you, but because the individuals that did it to you had
Yeah.
not been caught.
Right.
And, you were at You were at the address.
The address.
You were at the address off of 288 and
Yeah.
then OST, and you and your sister were out just having a good time, enjoying life as you always do. And you were walking back to your vehicle when a car just slammed into both of you all as you all were walking.
Yeah.
And I'll let you kind of start from the beginning and kind of, if you're okay with sharing.
Yeah. And I think now I've reached a point where I can talk about it without crying, because I know a lot of people when I tell them the story, and this is the first time I'm actually telling the story online. I spoke to individuals who called and checked up on us, and I really appreciate our tribe. But this is my first time really telling the story. So, what happened was there was a friend of mine named Tony Dark, who's a music producer here in Houston, and he had an album release party. And so I went to the album release party. I had some friends from out of town that was here, and usually when people come into the city, because I do media and because I like to be involved in my community, they always ask me where to go, or can I hook them up? Like, can you take us places, tell us where to go. And my sister and I personally do not frequent the address, just because, there are some shady characters that I, that I don't like to run into. So we usually don't, but because it's so popular, everybody knows about the address. And so they were going to be there. They were actually there that night. And so when we were at the album release party, sometimes how women are, they can go all day without eating. And so we we were kind of hungry, but the lady that was serving the food there, she, for whatever reason, she was backed up. And so my sister was like, do you want to hit the address just to show them, where we're going to take them for brunch and stuff like that? And I said, yeah, let's do that. Let's just go to the address. And it was late. At this time, we left the album release party. I want to say it was like around midnight. And so I was like, yeah, let's just go there, and let's just show them where I'm going to take them for brunch. And so we left and we went there. And like women do, my sister and I, we were driving separate cars. We were inside of the cars, reapplying makeup, talking on the phone, it just took a while. And so by the time we walked into the address, it was about 12:45. And again, as soon as we got in there, we saw some sus characters, and me and my sister, we were like, outside of ordering our food, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna stay here, because a lot of people didn't realize too that the address had food. But that when COVID came and it shut down our a lot of the restaurants and bars and stuff like that, a lot of them opened up a full kitchen so that they can still be operate. And so we went there basically for food. And when we were leaving, our friend said, hey, do you want us to walk you back to your cars? I was like, no, that's okay, because this is our city, we can get back to our cars. You guys have been drinking, you guys don't know the city. We want to put you guys in your Ubers, and y'all just go to your Airbnb. And so that's what happened. And when we were walking back to our cars, there was a car that drove around. Now here's two things I always say, Jeff. Because I was also in at the 2017 Fort Lauderdale shooting, where that guy, they classified him as a terrorist. He killed 5 people, shot 9. Because I was there, it is habit for me to clock exits and to clock staff. So I'm like looking like, okay, where are my exits? Everywhere I go, where are my exits? And then who's the staff? Because everyone was wearing like brown address shirts. And so I said, okay, that's their staff. They're in brown address shirts. And when the car pulled on side of us, he said, hey, do you girls want to ride back to your cars? Now, 2 things should have, clicked in my head. Number one, how did you know that we drove separately? Because normally when women go, out to a club or a space or something like that, they actually drive together. So I was like, oh, no, thank you. My sister never said a word. I said, oh, no, thank you. We've been eating French fries. We kind of want to walk it off, that kind of thing. And before I could say, but thank you for asking, he just burned rubber like, and just drove off kind of crazy. And I noticed he had on a brown address shirt. So in my head, I was like, I never saw him inside. Maybe he's valet. And he left. Me and my sister kept walking. I looked at her like, I don't know why he drove off like that. Maybe he wanted to show us that his car was fast. And we kept walking. We were on the sidewalk because I did see a lot of comments saying, why were they in the middle of the street? We weren't. We were on the sidewalk. And as we crossed over to the next street, it was glass right there. And so my sister had on flats. And I was like, Oshi, I don't want you to step on glass and cut your feet or anything like that. So, and she said, well, it looks like they tried to clean it up. I said, you're absolutely right. Because there's actually glass. And then I woke up in surgery. So I was unconscious the whole entire time. I don't remember getting hit. I never felt my body get hit. I never felt he threw me 40 feet and I landed on my face. But I was unconscious the whole entire time. I felt like I died right there. And God was just like, not yet, wake up. And I woke up in surgery, saw somebody tie something above my eye, and I was like, what's going on here? The doctors still kind of laugh about that. But Oshi was conscious the whole time. And what she said was three things. Number one, there were no lights. But drunk drivers, because our investigator was like, well, drunk drivers could have hit you guys. You're right. Drunk drivers could not turn on their lights. Number two, there was no sound because the guy that was driving, he was driving like a, a newer SUV, and it was like a Range Rover, almost like a Range Rover, Land Rover. I remember exactly how it looked. So normally newer cars, they don't have sound because 9 times out of 10, they're hybrids or things of that sort. So there was no sound. And number three, she heard a revving as if somebody was behind us, and then all of a sudden, like that. And so her leg was broken in three places. He shattered her ankle. Her femur was broken twice. And she was actually, he hit her and landed her, he threw her about 10 feet and she landed on the curb that we were actually getting ready to step back on. And she was in glass. He put her inside of the glass. So she has a lot of body bruising. And of course, her left leg was broken in three places. Um, she said she when she could get her head straight, because obviously that'll shake you up too. She looked to her left, looked to her right. I was nowhere near her. She said she looked 30 feet in front of her, and that's when she saw me and she started calling out to me. Um, and she said that once she saw my blood pooling under me, she felt like I had died, and she put her head down and cried a little bit. And then she said, well, I need somebody to check on my sister to see. I'm sorry, I said I wasn't going to do this. She said, I need somebody to just check on my sister to see if she's still alive. And so she started calling out to people, like screaming, like, can you please help us? Can you please help us? And like cars was just driving around. Can I get I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I mean, as you say, this is your first time
It's my first time
sharing this publicly, if you will,
Yeah.
to people. So I completely get it and understand, and I thank you for being so vulnerable to share this part of your life story. It's extremely unfortunate, but if you can, please continue.
Yeah, she was just screaming for people to stop. And we live in such a social media age that people were more so filming me on bleeding, like they just were filming me and just driving by my body. Because when he hit me and threw me, I was in almost like an intersection of Bowling Green and Kilgore. So he threw me almost to the next block. And I was sitting almost in the middle of the street between those two streets.
So at this time, prior to this happening, had you noticed any other people outside? Were other people walking? Were there any other cars in the area that may have seen what happened?
So we were talking. We talked for a long time. So if the club closes at 2, and people are saying they they got something at 2:15, like a lot of people were saying that the a 911 call came at 2:15. Then the club must have put us out earlier than 2, because we were outside for about 20 minutes. I'm such a big personality. There were other women that were driving by and other guys that were like, "Oh, we like your friends. Like all of y'all are so cool." And I'm like, "Hey, we're gonna do brunch at bar 5015. You guys come on over." That's who I am as a person. So there were people driving by, but when we were walking to our cars, mostly everyone that had gotten out of the club were kind of already going home, or they were still more so by the address talking. So when you get on that back street of Bowling Green, it wasn't a lot of cars that were there, because mostly everybody were leaving. We were kind of one of the last couple of people still in the address and getting put out. So not like they were putting us out, but like we were leaving. We were just like signing checks and that kind of thing. We were leaving. So it wasn't a lot of people, but there were still people because people were driving around me.
Mm.
And then there were 2 people that stopped. There was a young lady named Maddie. She stopped, and she used her scarf to kind of put my face back together and hold it to try to stop my bleeding.
Explain that. Put your face back together.
So if you notice the scar here up top, um when he threw me and I landed, I literally just landed on my face, and it kind of like split open. Even lacerations, like if you notice that, if you can see that scar, you can see those. Because I can't put makeup on it. It's still very tender. It hasn't healed completely. It's healed, but it hasn't healed completely. It's still very tender, very numb, that kind of thing. And if you see, like, you can see where the stitching was, that was all split open. And even inside of my eyelid, because when I woke up and I looked at the doctors and I said, "Hey, what's going on?" The doctors say, "Do you see what I see? Yeah, there's a laceration. Man, we have to stick you in your eye." And they were like, "You got into a car accident." And I said, "I just got my car fixed." I thought somebody hit my car, but no, hit my body. And it was like lacerations, like even inside of my eyelid. So all of it was like just split wide open.
Do you feel like you and your sister were targeted because you were black women or women in general, or do you feel like it had something to do with the person who asked you if you wanted a ride? Or, I mean, as you've had time to think about it since it happened in
Right.
September of last year, have you come to some sort of thought, conclusion, or idea?
That's a good question. Obviously, I've been thinking about it a lot of times. So I do think that it has something to do with the guy that asked us for the ride. Number one. Number two, I don't
Do you
like.
think it was him, or do you think it was someone connected to him?
I think it was him. I
So
think it
how
was him.
how long after he asked you for the ride and burned off had this this occurrence happened? I mean,
As if he made a block. That's how long it took. It was as if he drove. Because you got to understand, I've been in that area a couple of times looking for parking. The 2 times I've been to the address, and so making a block would have put us right where we were.
mm,
Like it was as if he made a block and came back around and hit us. And that's one thing I told the investigator, that you know he at least could have said, here's why I was so high on him being the one, because when they went, according to HPD, they went to the address and asked. And so the address asked their staff, did anyone see these girls? Did they see these women? And nobody said anything. "Oh no, we didn't see anything. We didn't see anything." Well, you knew you asked us for a ride. So why wouldn't you say, "Yeah, I asked those women for a ride and they politely turned it down"? Like, and because I don't actually know how investigations work or how they do it. I know that they don't. We were told that they don't give. There was only a camera at a construction site on Bowling Green. They are building like like townhomes over there, but the cameras don't particularly work. I guess they're just there as a formality to scare off like people who like steal or stuff like that. But there was a camera where the construction site was, and so we asked for it just in case we could see that car pass by, because if we see that car pass by at a certain time, then you also saw me, the two ladies that you asked for a ride, you also saw us in the middle of the street, like me. Well, Oshi was on the curb in the glass, I was in the middle of the street bleeding, so you had to drive around my head, which also made me think too. That's why I kept telling the investigator it can't be a drunk driver, because how are you sober enough how are you not sober enough to hit me, number one, throw me 40 feet, but you're sober enough not to drive over and roll over the rest of my body? So you hit me, that should stun you as a drunk person. You should at least get stunned by it. You know how people say, "Oh, that sobered me up real quick." You know how people say that when things happen to them? Okay, if you hit somebody, and I'm very much, I love my body and stuff like that, but you guys, I'm very much 200 plus pounds. Okay. So it's not like you hit a little bird, you hit a really big body and you threw me 40 feet. How are you sober enough to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, let me drive around your body"?
So the car that pulled up before that asked you, the person that asked you for a ride, you're definitive that person had on a brown dress shirt.
I know exactly how he looks.
And so you knew what kind. Did you remember what kind of car that person drove?
I mean, yeah, he was driving. So again, he had on a brown address shirt. He was driving like a newer SUV Range Rover.
Okay, so you said that you spoke with the investigators. And the investigators went and talked to staff. So was there anyone that worked there that fit that description and actually drove that type of vehicle?
The world may never know.
I mean, what did the investigators say?
He said that they said nobody saw anything.
No, I'm saying my question is not whether anyone saw anything or not, but was there anyone working at the establishment that not only fit the description of the person driving the car that you saw and know what they look like, but actually had that type of vehicle? Did the investigators say?
No, because I don't think we asked that same question. And I don't think the investigator took it serious. Someone gave me some hard truth, Jeff. They told me that unfortunately, when you survive, it's like people move on. I mean, we're still trying to fight to get the footage from what they received from the site, because like I said, I want to see if that car drives by. But they told us, like, because of the media attention you guys received, we don't want vigilantes. So we don't even have the footage to see ourselves like, hey, that's the car that stopped to ask us. We don't even have that footage. And our investigator, even though I asked him the same thing, this is what I even asked him as well. Can you please get the list of guys that were working as valet that night? I asked him that exact same question. Can you get the list? Well, I can, but if we ask them, did you ask, these girls for a ride? It still doesn't mean that they hit you, because you guys didn't turn around and see the person, mow you over. I was like, that typically doesn't happen that way. I mean, if we could turn around and see somebody's about to hit us, we could get out of the way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so, it's been a tough ride.
So first of all, how is your sister doing?
My baby girl, her ankle is healed. She has a little bit more healing in the femur, and so she's walking with a cane right now, but she's at least able to walk.
And how old is she?
She's 34 years old. Yeah, and she's able to walk. She's walking with a cane, and we're trying to get it healed. She's still doing heavy PT to work on that leg. But I tell people all the time, despite my face and despite her leg and other, you're going to see road rash, because there's a lot of road rash on our body. He threw her in glass. Her body is just scarred, outside of the physical scars. He took so much from us, Jeff. He took work from me. He took work from my sister. He took our mental has been messed up. It's hard to trust people. for a while, I was able to walk, I wasn't able to walk immediately afterwards, but after about a month or two, I was able to walk. I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to go anywhere. Like once I was there in a place, I was ready to go because I was just like having a lot of anxiety. He took so much. We had plans to go. We were supposed to go to Hawaii literally that Monday. Instead, I noticed that somebody had stolen my phone while I was bleeding to death on the street, and they had
Wait a minute. Wait.
yeah.
Wait a minute. So
Yes.
someone who saw what happened
Yes.
took your phone?
Yes, sir. And they were in Galveston opening up my Instagram because the way that my phone was set up at the time, you can just, if I get an Instagram notification, you can look at it and it'll open and it would log it in Instagram. And so I had gotten gotten an alert that somebody was in Galveston with my cell phone. They at least could have called 911 when they stole the phone to help me out.
So instead of helping you,
Yeah, they stole my phone.
they took your phone.
Mm-hmm. And my sister, remember there was a guy that he had to have gotten out of the car because she looked up and he looked her in her face. He was like this close, and he was recording. Mm-hmm. This close in her face, and he left. Never called. The only people that called 911 was a guy named Obi, and Maddie was there helping me with my face. And there is footage that Obi received after he called.
I'm not sure who Obi is.
Obi is one of the guys. Maddie and Obi were the two people that stopped to help us.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Obi, he said that he remembers seeing us inside of the address. We seemed like really, really decent women, and he was recording. There's some footage that I haven't released, but you could literally see Maddie holding my head together, and you can hear my sister. I smile, tear up, hug her every time I see her, because you can hear Oshi saying, "Stop coming over here. You go back to her and make sure she's breathing. Go over there and make sure she's breathing." And and Obi told me, he was like, "Yeah, your sister was very, very much screaming, make sure my sister is alive. All she cared about was like, she was there laying there in excruciating pain from her leg being broken in 3 places, but she was just more so concerned if I was alive or not."
Can you think back on being inside of the establishment, whether there were anything that stood out to you, any red flags, any people that were belligerent or problematic, or someone that maybe had an axe to grind with you potentially?
We're talking real talk, right, Jeff?
Yeah, this is what. Come on now,
Jeff. These men at the address behave like they've never seen women before. When I say that we stayed in our seat for a reason, I'm talking about putting their hands under women's clothes, dresses, grabbing women out of their friend. You know how women have a friend circle, they'll dance together. They were grabbing on the women, filling them up. We stayed in our seats. We never got out. So yeah, guys walked by and they gave us the look, but because of who we were with, they knew not to try us.
mm-hmm.
And so when I say I clocked all of the address people, that guy wasn't inside. He had to have been valet, because number one, he knew that we drove separately. That means you saw us. You saw us park where we parked. Number two, he also had on a brown address shirt and he was not inside. I clocked every single address shirt that was around. He was not inside. So we didn't really, I didn't have, it wasn't really any guys that were like, we really just got, because we never moved from our seat. We sat down and we never moved. I didn't go to the restroom because they are very, very aggressive there.
So I know we can't turn back the hands of time at all.
Right.
And they say hindsight 2020, but is there anything that you would share with anyone that's watching this as a, I guess, precautionary thing? I mean, I know you can't plan to get hit by a car,
right,
unsuspectingly,
right.
But having had time to think about it, is there anything that you would 2022 Randy would do differently than 2021 Randy?
2021 Randy moved like she was the security and the talent. Okay. I mean, I was my own security, telling my friends like, no, you don't have to walk us to our cars. We got it. I got it. I'm protecting my sister. I really didn't realize how much protection women really do need, Jeff. Like, if y'all have friends that are women, y'all please, like, I didn't realize just that, because I do carry myself with a certain uh, a caliber. I have a certain caliber of and a certain level of standards that I carry myself with. So a lot of people do respect me, but that doesn't equate, like, women. I'm sorry, we're just not stronger than men. We're not, and definitely not stronger than a car. So 2021, Randy probably would have let her friends walk her to her car and not be so independent and say, "Oh, don't worry about it," because at the end of the day, you know, women just need protection,
Mhm.
you know.
So,
And also, I'm gonna be real honest. I wouldn't have never went to the address. I said that to my sister. I was like, we don't like the address. I would have told my friends, when y'all are done at the address, I want y'all to meet me here. I'm gonna show you where I'm gonna take you for brunch, because that's the reason why we went. The album release party was ending. I was done with that. Um, and I went there. We were hungry. I went there to show them where we were going, but I never would have went to the address.
and not to pick on the address because there's other places that
Yeah, of course.
probably
And it's not the establishment; it's just the people.
right,
I do want to make that clear, and thank you for
right,
saying that.
right.
It's not the establishment. The establishment is amazing. Like, they have an amazing outside part. They have an inside if you really want to turn up. And like I said, the tourists always come to the address because it's really great, and it's really fun, right? But some of the people, it's just the people that were there. Some of the men that frequent that place were just, they're just, it's just a level that I just don't, that's why I stick to, and don't get me wrong, it's just how I am. So if you want to hit the address, please go to the address. I'm not taking that away. That's a part of 77021. Like, everything in Houston is a community. And so, it's no shade on the address, but like, the people, sometimes you just have to really pick where you want to go. Sometimes when people get upset, Jeff, and you've talked about this on your show a lot, when it comes to like the turkey leg hut having a dress code, and this place having a this code and that code. Well, they do that sometimes because they're trying to keep the sus people away.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to say, hey, over here we're not putting our hands up under women's dresses. Like, and she don't even know this guy. You know what I mean? So that's the reason why they do that a lot of times.
I remember looking at I forget the name of the restaurant, but it was in Dallas.
Mhm.
Taste Bar, I think it was a
Yes.
Taste Bar and Kitchen
Or Taste Kitchen. Yeah,
Taste
Taste
Kitchen
something.
in Dallas.
Yeah.
Because they have one here in Houston,
Right.
different ownership, I think. But remember the DJ was playing the music and the young ladies
Was
were
twerking
yeah
on the
all on
furniture.
the furniture and stuff like that. And I remember here talking to one of my colleagues and friends and frat brothers who are over at Five Central,
Mhm.
and they have a certain clientele that they're in River Oaks,
Right.
and so they were trying to make sure that they had nice establishment that certain people come. But then when people start finding out about it, they start having this element
Right.
come in, and he was talking about how some of the young ladies were standing on the couches in their stilettos and their high heels, poking holes in the
Right.
furniture, not even being considerate of that. And I think that it's indicative of our culture today. It's just
Yeah.
so much going on. Whereby, I mean, you see, there was a shooting right around the corner,
Mhm.
off of Blodgett, near near well, right there. I tend not to try to say near a particular place
Right.
because I don't want to tie it to that
The
place.
right. But I know what you're talking about.
But it and it was a infighting inside. It was taken outside, so the establishment and the body, the bouncers took them outside.
Right.
Like, hey, get this up out of here, so that the people inside were enjoying themselves.
Right.
When it spilled over on the outside, Nowadays, people don't throw hands anymore,
Uh,
or if they do, if you getting the best of them, then they
yeah,
want to pull out a weapon,
right,
mostly a gun, and start shooting. And that's what happened in that case. And individuals start getting shot, the bouncers start getting shot, and stuff like that. And it's like, now you got the city of Houston, the mayor saying, "Oh man, this place always has this type of problem." So now you're vilifying the establishment, the ownership, and stuff like that. When really it had nothing to do with the owners. It had nothing to do with the establishment. It
right.
was the people, like
The
you say. It
people.
was the people,
Yeah,
that element of folks, and it's like it's seemingly getting worse and worse and worse here in the city of Houston.
right,
Look at what just happened at the Galleria,
right. At
twice in a
Joey
month.
Uptown. And you know what's so funny is because of Twitter. When Joey Uptown, I literally just came from Joey Uptown, probably like 2 months ago. That was my first time being there, and when I walked in, I said, "Oh, okay." Like it's unfortunate, but that's how it is. And I said, "Oh, okay." And on Twitter, you just see a lot of people saying things about Joey Uptown, and it's like it puts you in that same mind frame of kitchen and cocktails. There's my sissy watching Kitchen and Cocktails. That's the name in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Kitchen and Cocktails. They put you in the same that same kind of atmosphere of people. And so it's almost as if it was brewing a little bit, and boom, you have an explosion.
I mean, but come on, man. I mean, we
No,
had broad daylight
broad
at the
daylight.
Galleria. Now, back in the day, man, the Galleria
And he didn't have
Mall.
a 45, Jeff. He didn't have it. Like,
He had
what
a
was
he clearly he had. I think he had an AR. I mean,
it
with
was
an
something.
extended clip. I
Right.
mean, and he just popped
I
dude
mean,
like pop pop.
he pulled it out like a lollipop.
And
Like it was so normal
but
to
we're
have
talking about
that.
the Galleria Mall, man.
I
Never in the
know.
history of the Galleria Mall. I mean, back in the day, man, you thought everybody that's a celebrity or
Right.
somebody that if you upscale or you want to
Right.
have a nice shopping experience or
You go to the
upscale
Galleria,
shopping
right?
experience, it's the Galleria Mall. Everybody wanted to go to the Galleria Mall.
And they quickly turned it into Guns Point.
Oh my God! Well,
Like they quickly turned it into Sharpstown.
I'm just baffled by it. But first of all, I'm so blessed to see you here on the show, and that you are healed and continuously being healed. And I know that it's still an emotional thing for you. And like you said, it impacted you. It impacted your career and things. But now you're back in the saddle.
Yeah.
And so what we talked about initially was this
Dogepalooza
music festival that you're partnering with.
Yes.
This upcoming Saturday. Can you tell us a little bit about Dogepalooza?
Well, first of all, huge shout out to Greg and Sadie, the masterminds behind Dogepalooza and the Doge Army. Let me explain to you, they are really an army. We are, because I'm a Dogecoin holder as well. We are truly an army. Okay, we support each other. Like these people are dedicated to Dogecoin. Okay,
what is Dogecoin?
Dogecoin is basically a cryptocurrency as well. It actually stands for do only good every day. And so if you think of Bitcoin, things of that sort, a lot of people called it. I think it was Elon when he was on Saturday Night Live. You're right.
You got to give folks
yeah.
the
Okay,
full
the
name.
Tesla billionaire,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I believe it was Elon when he called it a meme coin.
Mm-hmm.
He called it a meme coin, and so at that time, people stopped believing in it. But honestly, to be real honest, cryptocurrency, without going down that rabbit hole, it's basically just the future. It's the future. There's a Doge card, and they're also a sponsor for Dogepalooza, where you can literally, it's a debit card. You can literally get your card, and everywhere that Visa is accepted, you can use your Dogecoin. You can use your currency of Doge to purchase anything. So let's just say you had 500,000 Dogecoins, and you go to McDonald's and you want to buy a Happy Meal and it's like, 30 Dogecoins. You just swipe that card and you've paid with cryptocurrency. That's going to lead us really into the future of cryptocurrency being used to purchase anything, you know, that kind of fits right in line with that whole Web3 metaverse kind of thing as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing a lot of
I
these
know.
phrases and a lot of this stuff, but I know that there are certain groups and people in this space that are, you know, going all in. Dr. Boyce Watkins, I see that he's, been talking about it a lot.
Right.
But you talk about metaverse, and crypto, and
Right.
and Dogecoin,
Right.
and Bitcoin,
Right.
and NFT, and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no cash. It's
Right.
just all digital.
When you think about it though, Jeff, what did they do before our current currency? They
Yeah,
bartered
well,
and traded,
right. They
right?
did barter and trade, and then
Right.
even before that, you had the shells.
Right.
That's what they used. As far as currency is
Right.
concerned.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And we're taking that wave just in a more technical space. So you remember when they came out with I think it's called The Dilemma on Netflix. I think it's called The Social Dilemma.
It's a movie.
It's like
Documentary?
it's like a docu series almost about Facebook and how and just technology in general. And one of the things that they said was technology is growing at such a fast rate that we can't keep up, right? Now, I hate to do this, but if we can't keep up as a society with technology, imagine where Black people are when it comes to NFTs, cryptocurrency. We're like a lot of the times the last to find out. We're the last to get on that wave. But there's so many people that are trying to alleviate that, no bias and things of that sort. If you want to learn it, you do have to put the effort into educating yourself or finding the proper channels to get educated on cryptocurrency, Web3, metaverse, NFTs, because really that's
So
where we're headed.
where does one go to find that other than YouTube, Google, and stuff like that? I mean, like, where
Right.
is that? What the purpose of this
YouTube
Dogepalooza?
Dogepalooza is definitely so let me talk about that. So Dogepalooza, first, the way that I got connected with Dogepalooza was through Clubhouse. Again, another form of technology, right? Another social platform. Clubhouse, if you don't know what it is, Clubhouse is basically an app that you log on to. It was really, really popular during the pandemic that we're still in. It was really popular during that time where a lot of people were just logging on, and a lot of people were logging on because celebrities were on there. It was like
Oprah.
yeah, and it was kind of closed off where you had to be invited, right? And now everybody gets invites, and everybody probably like towards the end of 2020, everybody is on there. And at that time, people saw that they could actually use it for business. You really can use anything for business if
Right.
you're smart enough,
Right.
right? And so there was this room that did like music. There was a lot of music producers and stuff like that, and so they they had a lot of people in there about music. Dogepalooza, Greg was in there, um, and he heard my story and asked me to join as the host. And at the time, I was like, sure. I did not know that Grammy award winning icon Dionne Warwick was headlining it. And so I was like, is this a real music festival? Yes, it is, but a little bit different. So this is not your Coachella, right? Like it's a music festival. People are going to be performing, there's a lot of people in local here in Houston that are musicians that are performing. Grammy nominated producer Davion Box is bringing his whole cookout. There's DJ Green Villain who's going to be DJing throughout the festival. You have Dash the Goat who's going to be performing Texas Relays that he have. It's like a posse cut with Mikey Iso, Jay Vaughn, and God King Preach. Like there's a lot of people that are here in the Houston community that are also going to be performing on this stage. And so when I found out that Dionne is headlining it, I thought, well, that makes a lot of sense because she is like outside of being Dionne Warwick, we're talking Whitney Houston's cousin Dionne Warwick. She is also like a major vein in Twitter. Like not the Twitter CEO saying, "Hey, I'm retiring. I'm gonna make Dionne the Twitter CEO now." Like she's in that Twitterverse very very heavy. And so again, right, using technology. And so for Dogepalooza, it is a festival that is heavily sponsored by Dogecoin. You can use Dogecoin to purchase anything at the festival. There will be education on Dogecoin. There will be a podcast there. You can think of it as a real music festival, but just heavy on educating people about Dogecoin and NFTs. As a matter of fact, your ticket, there's one of 5,000 tickets is an NFT, and then there's one of 500 VIP tickets that are NFTs as well. So the first 5,000
Could you
people,
tell people what NFT stands for?
non-fungible token.
And what is that?
So if I could break it down to layman's terms, right? This napkin is something that I used as to dry my tears on Real Talk Junkies. Okay, if Real Talk Junkies, when it blows, okay, because Real Talk Junkies is already at a top tier level Facebook Watch show, but it blows where Oprah says, you know what, I need to mail me, Jeff, to come on my network and do Real Talk Junkies there. This goes from being maybe worth $0 to probably being worth 500 million, right? Because she's going to run this on her network. I'm going to sell it as a non-fungible token. All right. It's a piece of something that nobody else has. It is my stained makeup on this napkin, right? And then I sell it, you know, to another person. It's almost like buying art, which is why we see the whole, you know, you see the I think it's called the something apes. Everybody have the ape as their NFT, you know, because it's almost like buying art, but really anything, right, can be art, and anything can be an NFT. It's all on the value that's placed on it. So think about the tickets, your tickets to Dogepalooza is an NFT, right? Think about the first tickets to Coachella. How much you think they'd be worth by now?
Mm. So you know, I see one of our viewers, Justin, said Dion. When you said Dionne Warwick, it just his ears perked up, and you know he loves Dionne Warwick. It appears.
Right.
So tell us a little bit more about the festival. It's this Saturday.
It's this Saturday at Constellation Field. So you know the space, which is so crazy. They just changed their name to the Space Cowboys, right? That plays there. And
I was at a game last week.
See, all right. So you should definitely
Fort Bend County, baby.
All right.
Yeah, already. You know we're gonna represent Fort Bend. So it's gonna be at Constellation Field.
Yes.
In Sugarland, Texas.
Sugarland, Texas.
From when to when?
It's going to be from 12 p.m. 12 a.m. p.m. Sorry, 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. Okay. There's a lot of people performing. You can go to dogepalooza.com.
How do you spell that?
Dogepalooza.
A little slower for the people in the back.
I got you guys. Trust me. And here's the thing, because I love Jeff so much, and he's always pouring himself into the community. I'm going to give away a couple of free tickets to anyone who has dropped a comment. If you want to just comment right now, go ahead and drop a comment on Jeff's show right now. I'm giving away a couple of free tickets, all right? A couple of pairs, okay? So I'm not going to tell you how many I'm giving away, but I'm giving them away, and they are NFTs. So you can say, I am now an NFT owner, okay? So Dogepalooza, DOGEPALOOZA.com, and you can grab your tickets there. You can also see who's coming, you know, any of the local artists. There's some artists from out of town as well that are coming to perform. Dionne's son is going to be there. Yes, that's right. She has a son. Okay, for all you Dionne Warwick lovers out there. Okay, he's going to be there and talk about some of the things that he's doing as well. I'm also going to be interviewed by one of the podcasts that are coming there as well, and I think that's really cool that they're bringing podcasts to festivals, because podcasts, there's a huge audience for that. So you guys drop your comments. I'm gonna give some free tickets away.
That's right, y'all. Make sure you drop your comments. Always make sure that you're engaged and involved. You never know what you're going to get here on Real Talk Junkies. I want to thank you so much for not only sharing this information about the Dogepalooza Music Festival this Saturday from 12 to 10 p.m. At Constellation Field in Sugar Land, Texas. But for sharing your life story, it takes a lot to be vulnerable and to put yourself out there like that. And for you to be able to do that here on this show, I'm greatly appreciative. And we really thank you so much for, all the work that you do in the social media and the media space. Working with us in partnership Forward Times, and of course here on Real Talk Junkies. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Jeff. I thank you for everything you do for the city. Seriously, like we look up to you
for the world.
For the world.
That's what I do for the world.
For the world.
The world,
don't
Craig.
Play. Do
the
not
world,
play.
Craig. For the world, Craig. But at any rate, thank y'all for tuning in, man. We're gonna get up out of here, man. Real Talk Junkies. Make sure you tune in every Wednesday, 12 noon, here on the Forward Times Facebook and the Instagram pages.
That's perfect.